Have you ever been surrounded by your family and still felt completely alone? You're there, they're there. Conversations are happening. Maybe there's even laughter, but inside, something feels missing. A sense of warmth that isn't fully there. A feeling that you're not truly seen or understood. And the question quietly shows up, why do I feel unloved, even around the people who are supposed to love me? If you've ever felt this way, you're not imagining it, and you're not the only one. But the reason behind it is deeper than most people think. Love isn't just what happens, it's what you feel from the outside. Love can look present. People talk, they show up, they do what they're supposed to do. But feeling loved is something different. It's not just about actions, it's about how your system experiences those actions, because two people can receive the same behavior and feel completely different things. One feels supported, the other feels unseen. So the real question becomes, what shapes your ability to feel love? It starts early. Your experience of love begins long before you're aware of it. In your early years, your system is constantly learning what love feels like, how it's expressed when it's available, when it's not. This learning doesn't happen through words. It happens through experience, through presence, through emotional connection, through consistency. If those elements were there, your system learned that love is safe and accessible. But if they were inconsistent or missing, your system adapted. When love feels inconsistent, if your childhood included emotional distance, lack of attention, unpredictable behavior, criticism instead of support, difficulty expressing feelings, then your system may have learned something different. It may have learned that love is not always available, connection is uncertain, being fully open is not safe. And once that becomes your internal reference, it doesn't just disappear. The pattern you carry. As an adult, you might be surrounded by people who care about you, but your system is still operating from its early blueprint. So even when love is present, you may not fully feel it. You might question people's intentions, feel like something is missing, struggle to trust affection, feel disconnected, even in close relationships. And this can be confusing, because logically, you know people care. But emotionally, it doesn't fully land. It's not just about others. At this point, it's easy to think maybe they're just not loving enough, and sometimes that can be true, but often there's something deeper happening, because the feeling of being loved is not only created by others, it's also shaped by how your system receives and processes connection. If your system is guarded or conditioned to expect distance, it may not fully open to what's being offered. The invisible barrier. This creates a kind of invisible barrier. Love may be there, but it doesn't fully reach you, not because you don't deserve it, but because something inside is still holding onto a different expectation, an expectation formed earlier in life. The role of emotional imprints. Here's something important to understand. Your system doesn't just remember events, it stores emotional imprints, patterns of how to respond. So if love was associated with inconsistency, disappointment, distance, then your system may automatically filter experiences through that lens, even when things are different now. It can go beyond your personal experience. Now let's go one level deeper. Some of what you're feeling may not have started with you. Family systems often carry patterns across generations. Things like emotional suppression, difficulty expressing love, trust issues, disconnection. These patterns shape the environment you grew up in. So even if no one intentionally withheld love, the way love was expressed may have been limited, and that limitation becomes part of your experience. Why it feels so persistent? You might have tried to change this, to be more open, to think differently, to focus on the positive, but the feeling remains. That's because this isn't just a mindset. It's a deeper pattern, one that exists in how your system experiences connection itself. So even when you try to feel more loved, your system may still default to what it knows. Why awareness alone doesn't change it. Understanding this can bring clarity, but it doesn't always bring immediate change, because the pattern isn't just mental, It's embedded in your emotional and physical responses, so changing it requires more than just thinking differently. It requires a shift at the level where the pattern exists. What happens when that shift begins? When your system starts to release those old imprints, something changes. You don't have to convince yourself that you're loved. You start to feel it, naturally. You become more open, more receptive, more present, and suddenly the same interactions feel different because you're experiencing them differently. Love was never completely absent. This is an important realization. Sometimes, it's not that love was completely missing, it's that it wasn't experienced in a way your system could fully receive. And over time, that creates the feeling of being unloved, even when love exists in some form. You're not too much or too needy. If you've ever felt this way, you might have thought, maybe I'm asking for too much. But the desire to feel loved, seen, and connected is not too much. It's natural. What you're experiencing isn't a flaw. It's a pattern. And patterns can change. Final thought: feeling unloved, even around family, doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means there's a deeper pattern shaping how you experience connection, a pattern formed through early experiences and possibly influenced by something even bigger. And once you begin to see that clearly, you stop blaming yourself and start understanding what's really happening. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe to the channel, because here we explore the deeper patterns behind emotional experiences, relationships, and the way you connect with others. And if you want to go further, if you want to understand how these patterns can actually begin to shift at their root, there's more for you. You'll find a resource in the description and in the pinned comment that connects directly to what we talked about today and explores a deeper approach to experiencing real connection. If you've ever felt unloved, even when you're not alone, that's where you can begin to understand how that can change.